Gotta get my lips nice and moist for all the angry gabbing I'm about to do. Oh, we're doing it again. We're doing it again. Hi, welcome. If you're new here, this is a series I've been doing on my channel where I react to bad reviews of some of my favorite horror movies. Started with the 1950s, I've done the 1960s, now we're doing the 1970s. And when I was looking through my Letterboxd and just taking a gander at all my favorite 70s films, I was like, holy shit, what a decade for horror. I was kind of underestimating her, but today on the list, we've got TCM, The Exorcist, The Omen, Suspiria, Jaws, Alien, Carrie, Black Christmas, The Wicker Man, Halloween. Deep breaths. Hello, welcome, by the way, if you're new here. My name is the Antichrist. That's right, it came right out of Satan's womb. I am his favorite daughter. You may join our little chaotic horror-loving community by clicking subscribe. Also click the like button and the notification bell, that way you never miss the next video. Because I talk about all things horror, I'm not always getting mad and breaking apart terrible, terrible reviews. Though we do have fun doing this. Generally, I like to start with the movies that will anger me the least. But there are so many good movies from the 70s that that's gonna be hard to do today. Even the movies that I'm not obsessed with, like a fair amount of these are maybe 3.5-star films for me. I still enjoy myself watching them and I still appreciate all the filmmaking, the historical context, so I still kind of ride for them, you know? One of those being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Why don't we just kick it off with a bang? If you're unfamiliar with where I find the reviews, I go on Letterboxd and then I set the rating from a 0.5 star to 1 star, and then we just see what the hell we're working with. Oh my god. This one has 946 likes. It's a 0.5 star rating, so now I kind of feel obligated to read the whole thing, but it's very long. Well, I'm pretty confused. Why do most of you guys love this? The first 40 minutes was not terrible, but it wasn't good either. We don't bond with any of the characters, so we don't care if they're killed, or at least I didn't. Okay, it's only just bearable, and then when the killings start, there is no gore at all, which was very disappointing. And oh my god, the whole grandpa thing was so dumb. The last 30 minutes of it was straight up screaming and at the top of her lungs. Surprised she didn't pass out and get killed. So I just muted it and put on subtitles. The acting was almost laughable, especially from the cook. This might have been his very first time on camera. Every 10 seconds, the camera pans to a bone and pulls in and out of focus, which gets extremely annoying. The only thing I did like was towards the end when we get a close-up of her eyes, but even then, that went on for way too long. This could have at least been a little fun or just slightly entertaining. Really, I would have been fine with that. I think this movie is a mess that had potential, and I'm honestly mad because this was a huge letdown. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. Please don't kill me. You better lock your doors. Okay, no promises. Now, this person doesn't specify, hey, I require gore in my slashers to enjoy it. They don't specify that. The framing of it would suggest that they think that a horror movie is bad if there is no gore. This could have been at least a little fun or just slightly entertaining. Okay, granted, most people have not done the deep dives on this film that I have, but they tried to sell this movie as a comedy. That actually was the original intent with this film. So saying the acting was almost laughable, well, understanding context helps, baby. I just don't even think that this is a review that's particularly well written. Is this the current standard though? Because why does this have almost 1,000 likes? What a transcendental waste of time. Holy shit. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre belongs in the Valhalla wing of the Cinematic Ass Cheeks Hall of Fame. I'd rather dry swallow horse pills while feasting upon catfish. I'm a vegetarian and allergic to fish. Nerd, than ever be made to rewatch this painfully crude, goofy, horrid dog shit. I can't with the rants. I really hope that that is not going to be the trend of the day, because I'm just not doing it. I'm not reading out all that. If I hear her scream one more time, I swear to god I'm gonna kill myself. I get it, yeah, overstimulation, that can be a thing. So I rate movies entirely on how much I enjoy them. I did not enjoy this at all, lol. Me and body horror rarely mix. Yeah, this can fuck right off. It's not really a body horror movie though. I feel like the most blood that we actually see is when she gets her finger cut and then grandpa starts sucking on it. Am I mistaken? Like, yeah, a girl gets hung up on a hook, but you never see the backside of her. You don't see it like piercing her flesh or anything. Perhaps even just the idea of it though is too much for people. Oh, this person kind of gets it. I mean, they're poking like logical holes where it's like, oh my god, relax, it's a movie. But they say, why is this mislabeled as a genre when clearly it's comedy? Do they mean mislabeled as a horror? These are never opinions that I respect respect because the questions are not asked out of a genuine curiosity, having a curious perspective, wanting to learn. It just comes off very mean-spirited. Did the director just get his friends to act in this? A couple of them, yeah. A couple of those people absolutely were his friends. Nobody was really being paid what they were worth. Did no one care about that actor's safety as he ran with a spinning chainsaw? No, this was like kind of the Wild West back then. The actual like chain itself was not on the chainsaw, so he was safe. But yeah, injuries happened because this was an extremely low budget film, but that is why it's important. The historical context, like the feat of filmmaking despite what they did not have. I suppose you're allowed to ask these questions, but I'm allowed to think that they're dumb. Because you don't mean it. Look it up. If you're curious, actually look it up. But you're not. You're just being rude. This I can respect. To echo the words of the great Mike D'Angelo, for the purposes of this entry, just ignore me. It's exactly what it wants to be. I simply have zero interest in what it wants to be. It's not for me. God bless. God bless you, Amy Henserling. And at the very end, she says, carry on. Enjoy. That attitude or nothing. Blah, blah, blah. If y'all like this movie, I bet you smell bad. Literally so boring, I had to jerk off just to get through it. No. I think my ears bled a little. Why aren't any of these funny? This one just says shut the fuck up a million times. Oh no, then they do go on to say characters are hands down some of the worst ever. Stupid ass kids are wailing constantly. That's a really common theme with this movie. I guess people are just really annoyed by this film. I can't dispute somebody being annoyed, and you know what? Being annoyed is not a crime. But I think if it occupies this much of your headspace and instills this much rage to the point where you need to repeat shut the fuck up like 20 times here, Jesus Christ, I think you have other things internally perhaps to address. You know, it's a bad movie when it makes Friday the 13th seem good. Oh, they have a list of slashers ranked. Okay, they have Scream and Black Christmas, Nightmare, Halloween, Child's Play all at the top. I think that this ranking here is pretty good. They also have Scream 4 up at the top. Oh, they even said it's a personal least favorite subgenre. So, you know what? Hey, you live your truth, okay? Live by your convictions. But I can't say I appreciate the Friday the 13th shade, okay? We'll be talking about that in the next installment of this series, don't you worry. She just missed the cutoff though in 1980. I think I'll conclude with Sally Shut Up Challenge When. If you were going through this, you'd be screaming a lot too. I am sick. I'm sick of it. The lack of empathy. The like, oh, so annoying. Why is she just screaming the whole time? She's about to be carved up and eaten by other human beings. Where's your humanity, huh? Crazy ass people. Wait. Oh my god, I'm so glad that I scrolled again. Prince Philip looked good in this. Beautiful. Okay, we can move on now to The Exorcist. The Exorcist is a movie that I have actually given bad reviews in the past. And it's a video that weirdly lately has apparently been doing well. I don't know why, because I shot it like 5 years ago and it was a high-rated horror movies that I hate was the title. I am considering making it private because why do you guys keep going and finding it? I disagree with almost everything that I said in that video now. I'm pretty sure because I haven't gone back to watch it. I cringe at little Kylie. I don't want to talk to her. But I used to talk a lot about not liking that movie on my channel when I was a wee lass, when I was but 20 years old. I even logged it on Letterboxd for the first time. So I'd be some type of hypocrite if I didn't share my bad reviews of these horror movies that I love. I still don't love The Exorcist, but I certainly like it now. And let's see the embarrassing thing that I said on October 12th of 2020. I know. How dare I give The Exorcist 2 stars? It only gets 2 stars for Linda Blair's performance and the special effects that were groundbreaking for the time. Otherwise, it's a horribly paced mess. It has simply just aged like milk. Ugh, it's just so bad. But I couldn't sit here and call out other people's dumb reviews if I didn't call out my own. Terrible. Absolutely. It's aged like milk. Okay, girl. You could tell she was in the middle of getting her film degree. Then I rewatched it November 5th of 2021 and I upped my score to 3 stars. Also though, not people liking this. Maybe it was other people my age or something. I don't know. How I made watching The Exorcist a tolerable experience. Watch in 1.5x speed. Watch with AirPods in a loud train so you don't notice how bad the sound design is. Oh god. Oh my god. Why is my camera keeps trying to focus on my little plant back there. Camera, get a grip. I'm gonna have to revoke the plant privileges. Point 3, pretend you're watching a comedy. 4, actually notice the anti-religious stances the film takes. I'm pretty sure that I actually do stand by that last one though. And also maybe point 3, because even my third viewing of the movie, I still was laughing at a lot of it. So that is currently how I still get some enjoyment out of the film. But yeah, when I was around this age, I think it took me till I was maybe like 23 to get over what I used to consider the auditory nightmare of like bad sound mixing or bad recording, which is probably what I'm referring to. I say sound design, which like maybe that's true. It was the 70s, so everything wasn't mixed the way that it is today. Maybe some things were certainly too loud and that overwhelmed me and made me mad. But that's something that I don't know if it's just because I grew up and I unclenched, or if it's because I've just watched so many more horror movies that are older and don't have all of the tightest technical elements and stuff, and I've just gotten more used to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a little mix of both, but thank God I've gotten over that. Thank God. I can enjoy so many more things now. My most recent review though was, oh my God, almost 2 years ago now. I gotta rewatch The Exorcist again. But I said, oh my God, I can't believe the patriarchy kept Chris out of the room. That was so problematic. Do you remember when The Exorcist Believer came out? That was nuts. Let's see what other people have to say. I'm gonna stand on those old reviews though. I think it's good to leave up the documentation of you being kinda shitty, because then people can see how you've grown. I'm not gonna look at it though. This is a rare occurrence, because I'm not gonna go back and rewatch my old YouTube videos either. Oof. A Jesuit psychiatrist puts his metrosexual boxing lessons to good use by beating up a horny tween for making fun of his promiscuous mother. I'm sure that there are like social media pages that are dedicated to doing stuff like this, like making a bad synopsis. I think they're so funny though. I am more scared by the fact people think this is a good movie. Please don't make it a trend that people are like not gonna actually have reasoning for why they don't like these movies. This is only the second one we're talking about, but also with TCM, people were like, I just can't believe that you guys think this is good. Oh, we got 'em, boys. We got him. For a movie that's considered one of the best horror films, it didn't scare me. I believe that I will be quoting our Lord and Savior Britney Spears in every single installment of this series, but here we go again. It's a movie, it's pretend, you're an adult, you should know that. Oh my God, you remembered that you were sitting safely in your own home. Oh, haram fo. Even though it's a classic, a lot of the horror scenes feel outdated. Compared to today's films, it didn't have the impact it should have. The exorcism scene felt more like a special effects showcase from that time rather than something actually scary. In many ways it was. I mean, in many ways, these early horror films, like post-Hays Code specifically, because The Exorcist was only 5 years after the Hays Code lifted, right? So a lot of stuff that was going on in horror actually was very much a showcase, whether it be of new effects or just, hey, we can actually like do this really fucked up stuff again. Isn't it so juicy when people are so close to the point but then miss it entirely? They point something out as if it's a gotcha, but then it's like, no, yeah, you're right, and like almost everybody knew that. And this review was from March 20th of 2025, this year. Have the youngins of today not learned from my mistakes? From the mistakes of their elder film reviewers? Don't say the things that I did when I was 20. The hot priest couldn't save this, and I disagree. Oh my God, oh no. Wait, this review is from 2012, and why does my review kind of mirror it? I swear to God, I did not see this when I was making my review. It only has 21 likes. But they said, what? 1 star for The Exorcist? Are you insane? Love the self-awareness king. They say, you know, maybe this can be blamed on my lack of religious beliefs, and I think in the past that certainly contributed to my lack of enjoyment of the film. I think that that's probably a good observation. I enjoy self-awareness. Carry on. No way. Somebody is saying a stupid, vulgar movie, and it's not even scary. I can't even believe that back in 2016, somebody would be saying something about this movie, because that was part of the narrative that was spread at the time of its release. Oh, it's so vulgar. This movie's demonic, whatever. People were scared of Linda Blair when she'd be walking down the street and stuff. Astonishingly hypocritical in that it gets away with repulsive sequences that would be considered over the top even in the cheapest rapist exploitation film, like Reagan masturbating with a cross because, well, it's the devil. I spent 8 years in Catholic school and was raised in a devout Catholic family, and so I can quickly suss out the bullshit that this movie peddles. Boy, it's too bad Chris and Reagan wasted all their time with those doctors and their degrees. Should have gone to a priest, a real professional right away, eh? Sorry, but I hate this film like I hate few others, and even my 1-star rating is more out of a grudging admiration for Friedkin's accomplishments in creating a feeling of dread. He's a great director, even if this is a bad film. The opening is a bit pointless. The scenes with Lee J. Cobb wander and go nowhere and mean nothing. The climax, Take Me, is astonishingly stupid. The great Max von Sydow gives this dumb thing a bit of dignity at the end, and Friedkin pulls off some nice shots, but this is one of Hollywood's most pandering frauds. People feel a really strong type of way about this movie specifically. I'm having trouble figuring out exactly what them being Catholic has to do with them being able to suss out the bullshit of this movie. Because then they go on to say like that they waste their time with doctors and whatever, but they should have gone to a priest, a real professional. But I feel like this is missing a key component of the actual story of The Exorcist. The priest wasn't able to do dick all either. It ended up that someone else had to invite the demon into them and then jump out a window for them to resolve the problem. All of the throwing holy water and the power of Christ compels you didn't do shit. So it's giving logical fallacy. I don't know. I thought it was good, but it's just an overrated movie which has nothing to say. I don't think that could be further from the truth. This has so much to say about religion, what we put our faith in. I think similar to the last review actually brought up good points about doctors versus priests, different forms of belief systems. It's certainly up to the viewer to like read into it what you will. So is it a matter of the movie not having something to say or you not having a think? Can't believe the biggest weapon in Satan's arsenal is a yo mama joke. That's a good one, though it's not Satan though. I think I really need to move on. I am not getting through this at a quick enough pace. My goodness. Next up, let's talk about The Omen. This is a movie that I am pretty sure I didn't used to rate well. Oh, yep, 2 stars. At least I still gave it a heart, I guess, but I watched it in November of 2020. I said I love my boy Gregory Peck, but something about these religious 70s movies just doesn't hit it all for me. I'm glad that's changed, because as of April 5th of 2024, I said this happened to my parents when I was born. Do you get it? Because I'm the Antichrist? So yeah, I like this movie a lot now. Goofier version of Final Destination. Leave it to the British to make a boring film about the Antichrist. I don't know why that's funny, but just making fun of the British is like, I don't know, usually I'm like, yeah, sign me up. What is with everybody writing essays for these movies? Why is that the theme of the day? That's not what I'm trying to sign up for. I'll do a couple of them, but like, my God, can we just get it a little more short and to the point? Oh, here we go. Slow, boring, and dumb. All I could think about was if this is just an early biopic of the current president. That's fucking funny. We got a good amount of people actually calling it boring, because that's 3 in a row that just are saying it's really boring. I think that was less of a trend with the 60s movies and definitely a big trend when I was talking about the 1950s. It's coming back. Yay. I guess this could be scary if you are white and born in the 1930s. Yeah, I mean, I think there was more religious horror starting in the 70s than there had been previously. I want to say that The Exorcist was kind of what kicked that off. I don't think people can really fully grasp just how prevalent religion was in society back then. How can you not conceptualize that when in modern day we have regressed in this regard? The bullshit pro-life movement has helped to facilitate women now once again being second-class citizens on a federal level and not having complete bodily autonomy. How can you live in this world and not conceptualize that back then it would have been perhaps even worse? Do you know what I mean? Made me feel like I was in school because it was boring, made me sleepy, you're boring me to death and I'm already dead, this one's a snoozer. Okay. Oftentimes we tend to reach intellectual bedrock when we're looking through these reviews, so let's move on now to Suspiria. This is gonna be a long video. What in the world was that? Could possibly be the worst thing I laid my eyes on, sorry. I do appreciate the apology. I just like, how do people not grow weary of being hyperbolic? Because if you're at the point where you're saying that about Suspiria, which when you literally use the phrase laid my eyes on, and at least on just a purely like color level, Suspiria is one of the most gorgeous movies ever made. Because if nothing else, Suspiria has its aesthetic going for it. And I personally believe it has more going for it than that. But you know what I mean? Holy shit, it's so bad. The fact Star Wars came out the same year as this is mind-boggling. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. We talked about this in my last video, so I'm not gonna get into it. But comparing a movie to another movie of the same year that has nothing to do with it, in this case came from different countries, is the most illogical argument. You're saying nothing. I don't even know how to explain how dumb that is. Like, I'm kind of at a loss for words. That's similar to saying something like, oh my god, I can't believe that Jordan Peele's Us was so bad. It came out the same year as Avengers Endgame. Okay? Is the logical comparison in the room with us right now? An anomaly, this fucking sucks, half star, and yet with a heart. The stabbing scene in the beginning was probably the most pathetic stabbing ever to be recorded in media history. The whole movie is hilariously, comically bad. I think also a lot of people just have never seen a giallo. They don't know what it is. They don't understand the historical trends of that subgenre. Pretty lights, we get it. Wouldn't watch this again even if I got paid for it. You're skeptical, my dear. Skeptical that this many people actually like this film and aren't watching other than to flex on their pretentious peers. Okay, Pedro. Wouldn't watch it again if you got paid for it. What's with the closed-mindedness? I have done so many redemption rewatches, and some movies I've had to watch 3 or 4 times to like finally enjoy them. And you might be like, why? And I would tell you, well, it's because I finally enjoyed them. It ended up being worth it. And I don't know what about liking this film is a flex. First of all, why would I be trying to flex on my peers? Weird line of thinking. Second of all, I don't know how pretending to like something could be considered a flex. Me and these people don't live in the same reality. Okay, I guess this is gonna be the biggest trend of reviewing 1970s horror. Bad reviews anyway, but I don't understand. Is this a joke? Why are people saying good things about it? What? Is it cursed or something? People cannot figure out why people love certain 1970s classics. Okay, I'm done. The next one, oh my god, you know what? Like the last 6 movies are so highly acclaimed, but this next one, Jaws, one of the most beloved horror films of all time. If I had to guess what horror poster has been printed the most times, it would be Jaws. It would be Jaws. Been logged over 2 million times on Letterboxd. It has a 3.9. I think that's gone down since the last time I looked. What could the bad reviews for Jaws possibly be? I'm only rating this a half star because I have severe thalassophobia and I can barely watch Finding Nemo without having a panic attack. Anyway, I'm sure it's a great film, but I'd actually rather pour bleach into my eyeballs. I hope you understand. Or if you don't watch a movie, then just don't rate it. Is that a novel concept? This is a prime example of the fact that you shouldn't feel obligated to watch a movie simply because it's popular and lots of people like it. This is ass. This has to be one of the most boring pieces of shit I've ever seen. It's just an hour and 55 minutes of nothing, then a somewhat cool ending, which happens to be the only time we see the fucking shark in the whole 2 hours of the shark-centered movie, and probably the only good part. And why the fuck are they trying to kill that cute shark anyway? Who fucking cares? Just let it live. It needs to eat too, goddamn. Fact, not opinion. Sharknado is better than this. I will be taking this opportunity to flex the fact that the man who edited the original Sharknado edited the first music video that I ever directed, and you can find that on this channel. It's called Plaything. But anyway, I just wanted to point out with this review specifically that it's hilarious that they're like, the ending is the only time we see the shark in a shark-centered movie. Babes. I gotta give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe you saw movies like Sharknado and The Meg and The Shallows before you ever saw Jaws. Perhaps, but you know, Spielberg was the first to ever do it with the shark film. And the whole point is the not seeing. The whole point is the tension building. So if you're not locked into that, then yeah, this movie's definitely gonna be lost on you. Why are they trying to kill it? I don't know, all the people it's killed? Very unusual behavior for a shark. Too much yapping, boring and overrated. Didn't have to be 2 hours long. My god, gets boring. Oh my god, y'all are boring. You're all saying the same thing. On the poster, the shark is a peeping Tom and a pervert, and I won't have it. It's not clocking to you that they're standing on business. I'm so sorry. Have you seen that video? I hate this fact, but sharks were actually tortured for this shitty movie. What? Were sharks harmed in the making of the movie Jaws? No. No, they did not use real live great white sharks for the majority of the shark scenes in the movie Jaws. This movie sets shark rights back by 200 million years. That's true, but I just don't conflate that to the actual quality of the film itself. Technically, sharks would never do this. It's a movie. It's pretend. This one is all just people who like sharks being mad about it. I want to talk about the actual movie. So now I suppose let's talk about Alien, which actually has a 4.3. I don't know why, but I wasn't really expecting the original Alien to have a higher score than Jaws. And this has been rated even more times than Jaws. Okay, I'm learning new things. I guess you could probably attribute that to the ongoing franchise, most likely, right? Because then people will go back and they'll rewatch it. There have been no new Jaws movies in forever. Could play Among Us for 20 minutes and get the same experience. Someone said, wear lightsabers. Slow moving and boring due to the lack of dialogue? Whatever happened to enjoying the atmosphere? This is something that I guess we can't win on, because some people will say too much yapping, and then other people are like, well, it's boring because nobody's talking. I didn't like that. Want none of the girls are sexy, and nothing happened trout the whole damn film. No action, no saucepan, just people talking, and it's too damn dark. I can see anything. I don't recommend Aliens. Oh, goodness gracious. What is with the essays? Gonna be here all damn day. So I'm not gonna read it, but a few key points. Never connected with me. I never was engaged with what was happening because barely anything was. Okay, poorly written. First of all, 2 hours and we never learn anything about the characters. What are you talking about? Is this one of those people that can't do subtext, perhaps? It's so dark most of the time, you can almost not see what's happening on screen. Skill issue, perhaps? Are the settings on your TV okay? My 4K of this film is gorgeous. Never have any trouble seeing anything. The sets are ugly as hell. Inside of the spaceship is either just halls with a lot of pipes and wires or areas of metal structures that you can't tell exactly what they are. The ugly sets and the bad living conditions of the crew are part of the anti-capitalist theme of the film. The crew is completely expendable, and so I think the ugly atmosphere, as you say, contributes to our understanding of that. This company does not care for these people to live in comfort. Wayland Yutani is just like, well, capture this thing at all costs. You could die. We don't care. Go ahead. But capture that thing, because we're paying you. So yeah. Had somebody else talking about not enough backstory, didn't feel attached for anyone. What happened to entering a movie with just a baseline empathy for other human beings? Why do you have such trouble connecting to fellow man? Atrocious, basically no CGI. If it's not computer generated, it's not real. I have nothing to say about that. Couple more people saying it's boring. Should I just stop mentioning the reviews that call these movies boring? It's happening too much. So many people call this movie boring. Oh my god. I have never watched a worse movie in my life, and I have watched a lot of shitty movies. Let's inspect that, shall we? This is a public profile. I can look all I want. You've only logged 8 movies this year, and you think Matt Rife is funny. Okay, goodbye. I'm done with Alien. I guess the haters of that film largely proclaim it to be boring, so we're done. Next up, Carrie. This film is so near and dear to my heart. I love Carrie so goddamn much, but I once gave it a bad review. Luckily, it literally only took me watching it one more time to realize, oh, I was being stupid. But the first time that I watched it, November 14th of 2021, maybe it'll take me a few more watches to figure out what the appeal is, question mark? And luckily, it only took one. I still gave it a heart, though, at the time, which is confusing. Look, she was starting to build some self-awareness. Beautiful. Rewatched it June 27th of 2023, and I said the last time I rated this, I gave it 1.5 stars. Roast me, I deserve it. Okay, that one was a lot better than the old reviews of The Exorcist that I did, so let's see what the other fools had to say. There is some indignance about the over-sexualizing of the women for no reason, and that's a topic that certainly deserves some nuance. I actually think that I unpacked it more it was my deep dive / comparison video of Slumber Party Massacre, the original and the remake, because I featured this interview with Amy Holden Jones and talked about the fact that if women wouldn't shoot these nude scenes and stuff, male producers would just come in and do it anyways. So if you're curious my thoughts on unpacking all of that, then I would recommend checking out older videos. But I've reached the point in my film watching journey where an isolated moment like that doesn't ruin my experience of the entire film, which I recommend. That's an outlook that I recommend. It allows you to enjoy a lot more stuff. That is probably going to be the common thread on this one. 2 minutes in, I can tell a man directed this. I got hit in the head with a bucket when I was 5 and didn't die. Kind of a valid take. Oh gosh, okay, all the half-star reviews are literally just saying the same thing over and over. I don't think we're gonna have any fun with this one. Get your bingo card out. How is this shit-ass movie considered a horror classic? I ask myself every day. Well then, partner, you're allowing this to occupy too much of your mental space. Wannabe Pearl. Oh, all I have to say to that is Hey, huh? Watched this and then broke up with my boyfriend. Wow. I think I'm the only person in the universe who thinks this film is absolute shit. Nope, but you are in very terrible company. I'm a hater, sorry. Appreciate self-awareness. And this movie made me want to find God. If you wanna find God, you do you, baby. The last 3 movies that we have to react to are films that I consider to be perfect. The first of which being Black Christmas. Now, no time will pass for you, but I do need to take a break because I have to record a podcast with my father. It'll be good for me to take a break from this, but it'll be instantaneous for you, so see you in a sec. Okay, so it's actually literally been a week since I recorded the first segment of this video. As you could probably extrapolate from the shelves that are now there and the new nail color. Stuff happened, okay? The recording with my dad went on for a really long time, and I had other stuff to do, but here, I'm back. It was no time at all for you. Why are you even complaining? We have 3 more movies that I need to react to the bad reviews of. Next up would be Black Christmas. This one is gonna be upsetting for me. This is an annual rewatch and I consider it to be a perfect film, so let's dig in. Get your goddamn bingo card. I have no idea what you guys are seeing in this. One of the most excruciatingly boring undertakings I've ever had to sit through. Barely anything happens, there's nothing but a banality beginning to end. Endless plateau of monotony. You're one to goddamn talk. Oh, this is so repetitive. I can't read the whole thing. Oh my god, they wrote a whole essay. No thanks. Y'all okay? If you think barely anything happens in this movie, by the way, have you considered getting your eyes and ears checked? The amount of tension just in the character drama alone is so interesting. There's so many layers to what's going on. There's so much subtext. Like, do you mean barely anything happens? Like, barely any people are killed? Okay, well, there's other stuff going on. The rapturous 4 and 5-star reviews of the supposed cult classic tricked me into thinking it was worth a watch. Suffice to say, if you're not a horror whore, this film is a colossal waste of your time. Okay, people are writing essays that frankly I'm just not going to read, but that was so funny. Call me a horror whore, I guess, baby. Oh, Jesus Christ. People write whole think pieces. I'm sorry. At this point, I cannot be bothered with this. This is insane. Did this really start with the 70s? Because I feel like there were very few reviews that rambled on for this long in my previous installments of this series. I liked the film, but I put that rating because my wife was killed. I'm assuming it's somebody talking about Margot Kidder. In which case, carry on, king. Nothing happens, boring as fuck. Why do people like this? Why do you people make reviews like that? Either you're not literally asking the question, or you can't read. Neither are good options, babe. Okay, die, and thank you for wasting 90 minutes of my night on stupid landline phone calls and horror cliches. Babes. They weren't cliches at the time. This was one of the OG ones to do it. The mother of the cliches, if you will. Not the movie's fault that you were the one that watched the other worse horror movies first. It's not actually that bad, but it was bad enough to really kill my vibe more than the rest of my day already had, so fuck it. Now that is a review that I can respect. Movie put you in a bad mood? Honestly, that's kind of a recommendation for it. The remake has to be better than this. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell Jack? You can't call yourself a horror thriller fan if you gave this a good review. Fuck, man. Maybe I sound like a millennial saying this, but I accept defeat in that aspect. What does being a millennial have to do? What? They call it a snooze fest. There you go. You don't sound like a millennial. You just sound like someone with bad taste. They put it in the same category as The Nun? Please see review for that one as well. No. First of all, wait, oh my god, let's look at the poster as the first thing the viewer sees before the film starts ugly and unappealing to the eye. Heaven forbid the movie have a bad poster. Oh my goodness. Hell of a place to start. Also, like, he's trying to call out some logical inconsistencies with, like, the first girl disappearing and the other girls not caring and whatever. But you have to remember, you're in the audience. You have access to information that they do not have. They do not know that they're in a horror movie. They do not know that her dad is frantically searching for her. A lot of them just chalk it up to, well, you know, she left for home. It's the boyfriend. Wow, called that from like minute 1. It's actually not though. It's actually not though. Like, it's actually not, though. So did you watch the fucking movie? I don't know. Didn't age well, you're glazing the movie too hard, boring as hell, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm over it. Let's move on to The Wicker Man. Oh goody, one of my top 4 films. This has a 4.0 on Letterboxd. What are people gonna be saying that didn't like it? Right off the bat, top one says, thought it a bore. The second one, it's a tedious, uneven schlockfest. Schlockfest? People will just say words. They don't care about the meaning. Dash the definition. I'm just gonna throw out the word schlockfest about The Wicker Man? About The Wicker Man. Do you know what you know what? Unnecessary musical numbers. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Wait, his name is also Jack. That's not the same one, is it? Maybe it's because I was already in a terrible mood, but this might actually be my 13th reason. God damn. Don't get it. Maybe if it had Nicolas Cage in a bear costume punching women in the face. Maybe. Although a better film than its remake, technically speaking. The remake is more entertaining, has much more rewatchability, and even has deeper themes. You heard it here first, folks. Oh my god. Oh my god. Deeper themes. Babes. Deeper themes. Deeper themes. I can't even entertain that. Bruh, I swear to God, the most offensive yet hilarious film a pagan could watch. The misconceptions are so far from the truth, it's laughable. We'll burn you guys to death because we're insane. Yeah, it's not the most accurate. I certainly don't burn people to death in my practices, but it's a movie. Also, one of my best friends is from Scotland, and her mother practices Wiccan witchcraft. She grew up in a town very close to the filming locations of this movie, and it is one of her and her mother's favorite films of all time. So, I don't know. Y'all are not a monolith, I guess. This movie was done by someone who was not only clueless about pagan religion, but also done with a malicious intent to try to denigrate the countryman of the town, while at the same time insulting Christians by making the representation the poorly written protagonist that seems to rage at anything he sees as the only personality trait he has. Holy fucking run-on sentence. Okay, so first of all, ooh, ding ding, we have somebody missing a lot of the historical context of this film. I explore this in my deep dive, but actually at the time, the reception by Christian audiences was overwhelmingly positive, because from their perception, they thought that the movie was taking their side, because, you know, he's the protagonist, and maybe they should have read into that a little bit further to understand the subtext, but it was widely very well received by Christian audiences, to the point where, I forget, there was some organization, a religious organization that like hosted a special screening of it or something. I think I covered that in the deep dive, so look it up. The director actually was very purposeful about not taking an explicit side, so if that's what you read out of it, then that's just like your opinion, man. It seems like you do actually care about the artist's intent though, so if that's the case, then you're just wrong. Also, at one point you say, it looks like the people behind it genuinely believe that some Aleister Crowley sort of degeneration represents the whole of what's the whole of paganism? Can I go? Or at the very least want you to believe so for reasons far from my ream of speculation. Okay, one of my least favorite things, people trying to use big words and they don't know what they mean. This just doesn't make sense. They want you to believe so for reasons far from my ream of speculation. So what does your ream of speculation cover then, if this is the opinion that you have extrapolated from it? Why would it doesn't make sense. Also, the whole of paganism, I can't get over that. I'm giving this a half star so I can bring down the average score the most I possibly can. Stop pretending to like this movie. Oh, you're mad. You're so dumb and so mad. How is this people's outlet for anger? Like, that's so crazy. I guess that's better than a lot of alternatives, but crazy place to crash out is in a Letterboxd review of The Wicker Man, which a lot of people are doing. I'm not going over majority of the essays I'm coming across because I just don't have the fucking time, and most of them are just filled with fallacies, like the one that I just covered. So it's not worth our time, my beloveds. Would have been scary if I was a Christian in the 70s, I guess. That is not the case. Yeah, but like overall, the movie is covering a lot of different elements about religious fanaticism, not just for Christians. Also, can you not enjoy a horror movie movie if it doesn't scare you, because in that case, then how would you ever enjoy a horror movie if you're a grown adult? I'm over it. That one at least was a little bit more interesting. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of people just saying, oh, boring, bad pacing, boring, but overall, a little more interesting. Now, for the final movie of the day, John Carpenter's Halloween. Oh boy. Now this one's got a 3.8 on Letterboxd, interestingly, and I don't think it's a perfect movie by any means, but I do give it a perfect rating because that is the amount of joy that I experience watching the movie. I experience a perfect joy. So I am expecting to see perhaps a valid criticism or two. Let's see. Oh God, it's boring. There we go. What a way to kick us off. By the way, I just cannot be asked to like screenshot and put up every single review of people saying it's boring. You're gonna have to take my word for it. I don't have to give this movie a hard pass. I'm gonna do something better. I've only seen scenes of it and then got a bit nervous. So I feel like that's good. Like, that means it's scary. Not to sound thick, but nothing happened. He just breathed real loud for an hour and a half. Not to sound thick. Are you British? Who the fuck dies and moans? You know, I feel like moans of pain can sometimes sound a little bit similar to moans of pleasure. Depends what realms of pleasure interest you, for sure. But in fairness, I think when I was dying in the ER when my appendix was about to explode, I don't think that the moans I was making sounded particularly sexual. So usually I kind of feel bad whenever I don't like a good rating movie, but this time I'm happy. I hate this shit because what the fuck was that? More highly rated movies which I don't like. Impressive how this film made tits, murders, and Halloween boring as shit. Bitch, this movie made Halloween. Okay. Pointless female nudity, but I suppose that's a given. I don't think it's pointless. Do you put your clothes on immediately after having sex, or do you kind of just chill for a bit? Overuse of music and laser sound effects. They are not laser. Okay, to the point it was actually obnoxious. The reason why the piano is so iconic is because it's literally played every 10 minutes or less. And actually, you know what's funny enough? John Carpenter would agree with you about there being too many musical stings in the movie, and he thinks that they're too loud. Characters had no background or anything interesting about them, so I felt nothing when they died. But I think that the point of that is that they just feel real, like they're just regular, extremely average, everyman characters. They have a little bit of special sauce to each of them, you know? Annie is the well-meaning but kind of nosy friend. Laurie is the bookworm. Linda is kind of the more innocent, not really quite living in reality yet, very sex-focused kind of girl. So the characters aren't super strong, but I feel like that's the point. A lot of slashers have really strong characters because there are the certain tropes that you expect to see. This was just supposed to feel like it could happen in literally any suburb. All Michael does is just appear, disappear, and breathe loudly. He's not the least bit scary, especially when they announce his presence with sound effects. Poor acting, line delivery. At least in my opinion, dialogue was dull. Again, I think that that's just like intentional. I think these are just supposed to be very basic, everyday people. It's not really supposed to feel super cinematic. The climax / usual chase scene in films was essentially done in a closet, but this was one of the first slashers to ever do that. So I beg, you must keep that in mind. At least they admit they can see why it's iconic, although with all these criticisms, I don't really know how. Anyway, the main problem, just boring. Didn't enjoy it. And yet there's a heart on the review. I swear that a lot of people just like don't really know how to use Letterboxd. Because I had a friend who I had to get on his ass because he would give movies a really high rating and like gush about it in the review, and I'm like, but you didn't use the heart function. Why did you not give it a heart? Like, why are you not? And he'd be like, I know, I need to start doing that. Oh, Jesus, this one is calling John Carpenter a pedo. I mean, all the people that he worked with were adults. And also, I don't know about you, but like, I had a good amount of sex in high school. That's what teenagers are doing. I just don't think it's weird. Like, I feel like people feel that way retrospectively about the movie because that became a very common thing in slashers and obviously did become exploitative. And also maybe because it came out in the post-code era of the 1970s where there also was a lot of exploitation. But I feel like John Carpenter really does hit a sweet spot where to me it just feels realistic. But I think the biggest shame about this is I will not be watching any of the next 12 Halloween films that span over 4 different timelines when some of those movies are so good, and they probably would like them more than the original. Why is the nurse wearing a vampire cape? Because it's Halloween! I'm not even gonna get into the rest of that review. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop for now because I also see myself in the future reacting to bad reviews of the entire Halloween franchise. I feel like that would be really fun. I might do it with Friday the 13th, with Child's Play, maybe with Scream. So we can get into more of that at a later date. This video has been long enough as it is. I gotta go. What was the worst review that you you heard today? Let me know in the comments down below. This was a doozy. This one I feel like was maybe a little bit less fun because it was so many people just saying that it was boring and less people making funny jokes. That was my favorite thing about reacting to the bad reviews of the 1960s movies, is because people were being really funny. This time around, everybody's just writing essays and just calling everything boring. Like, I am bored of you. Now, the 80s is gonna be a whole other beast. I am actually separating that decade into 3 different videos because there are so many movies that I want to cover. I hope that you're pumped for that. Or if not, let me know, and then I won't waste my time continuing this series. Just tell me in the comments. But oh my god, if you want more content from me, check out the other videos on this channel. Check out my second channel where I post all about physical media and I take you on spooky outings. You can also check out my Patreon where, depending on which tier you join, you get a bonus video every single week. But more than anything, I just hope that you enjoyed this painful video, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye.